A partially dynamic navigation is one that pulls in some navigation items via element queries in Craft. A typical example of this is a drop-down that has additional subpages under a main navigation item. In fact, I recently set this up on CraftQuest for the quests navigation item, and I'll show you that in just a minute. This type of navigation is great for simplicity. And if you need some dynamic items to display, let's say it's on a marketing site and you need to show a list of your services or your plans, and you want to pull that from entries or maybe from a structure, whatever it is, but that's the only part that you need to have dynamic, you can use this setup. Now, this is good for small websites or brochure sites or marketing sites. It won't be good if the client or customer needs to regularly update the navigation based on marketing initiatives or some other reason. This might be a little restrictive because it still will require that you get in and change the code in order to update most of the navigation. So here we are again. We have no navigation again. So let's do this with partially dynamic. So the first thing I'll drop in is just the dashboard, and then we can see that render here. So if there's a user, we get the dashboard link. And then I'm going to add in the quests navigation item. And this one is the dynamic piece. So we just have a bunch of markup here. I have a button that you click. And when you do, it's going to trigger some JavaScript, which then shows this div here that's hidden. And then here I am with my dynamic piece in the partially dynamic navigation, where I'm just doing a simple element query for the section called Learning Pathways, which is quests, it's the old name for it, and getting them all and iterating over it and then outputting the URL to link to it, checking that the slug matches the segment 2. If it does, then I'm going to highlight that in the dropdown, and the title, and then a short description. So it's like a bigger dropdown, and then an N4. And then I have a link at the bottom to see all quests as well. So if they wanted to see everything, that would navigate them to the quests page. And then after that, we are going to add in our static content. And this is just the same content that we had before, except that we have removed the quests one. So here's the courses, lessons, topics, and articles. Now, one thing you'll notice, and I didn't point this out in the last video, is this sprig component I'm pulling in for the live stream navigation item. This is technically still hard-coded. I'm just using sprig to change that navigation item when there's a live stream ongoing. So now if we look at this, you can see that we have quests here. And if I click on it, I get my dropdown. And this is powered directly from the entries in the Learning Pathways section in Craft. Now, if I wanted to change this, if I added another entry, it would appear here automatically. But if I wanted to change anything else about this navigation, I would need to go in and edit the code. So that's the partially dynamic navigation. And this is the navigation that is currently, as of this recording, on the CraftQuest site. But there's some other ways that we can do navigation. So let's talk about how we can do it with a global set. So we can manage the navigation in the control panel.